Good evening again, wrestling community, and welcome to the latest edition of Wrestle Talk Show. I'm your host, Joshua Zimmerman, here to bring you the latest and greatest professional wrestling news, bits, rumors, ins and outs, anything and everything pro wrestling. We cover it. And first and foremost, let me address the absence. No sob story, just a little busier than normal. I've moved in recently with my sister, and we're back to the family thing again, and things are a little busier than usual. And when I can, you guys haven't been put on the back burner by any means. We're putting the finishing final touches on the anniversary, 1 year anniversary show, which I want to do sooner rather than later, even though I think I'm still early. But I wanted to address that it's not that not wanting to do the show more frequently. It's just finding the time, along with new career aspirations and some personal litigation that has come through. I find myself a little busier than usual. So forgive if the shows aren't as frequent as they usually are. But let's move in like we usually do and start off with your pro wrestling ratings for the last 2 weeks. Scroll up here in a minute. There we go. And our last episode was on June 28th, so your TNA Impact ratings for June 30th, 2011 scored a 1.27 cable rating. Change your name to Impact Wrestling, and I guess it gets you better ratings. They were between 1.0 and 1.14 before they changed their name. So this, careful, Eric Bischoff might see this as progress. It's funny because that guy never gives up. WWE Smackdown for July 1st, 2011 scored a 1.69 is what I reported, but that looks like it may be wrong. 1.69 for July 1st, 2011. The 4th of July edition of WWE Monday Night Raw scored its lowest rating of 2011. This show scored just a 2.4 cable rating. This coming after you're used to seeing your Monday Night Raw in the 2.8 and 3.0 or better range. TNA Impact for July 7th, 2011 scored a 1.1 cable rating, averaging 1.6 million viewers. WWE Friday Night Smackdown for July 8th, this past Friday, scored a 1.63. There are conflicting reports that there's a downward trend for this show, and I was hitting on it before it even became a real problem that, hey, didn't they promise sci-fi 2.0s? And I think some fans found it a little, meticulous, over meticulous, if you will, on my part. So I kind of toned it down. But now that it's gotten out of the 2.0 realm at this point, 1.63 is nowhere near a 2.0 cable rating. So just, going on what we know about ratings, like I always said, it's an evolving concept that I'm still learning about and trying to figure out with other shows. And it's not just wrestling. I'm trying to figure out the trends and understand quarter by quarter better. And just like anything we learn, this does take time. But we can let me try that again. I think it's safe to assume that 1.63, you're looking at 2.1 million viewers, give or take, in that realm. But I've said that part of the problem is WWE needs to stop treating SmackDown as the B product. When you take a wrestling promotion and alienate it to the point where Monday Night Raw is your quote-unquote flagship, and Friday Night Smackdown has to find better catchphrases, you've already defeated yourself. These shows should be equal when it comes to entertainment and when it comes to promotion. They should be doing what they do on Raw on SmackDown. You want the people that watch Raw to watch SmackDown. You do not want... I hate... Maybe it all comes down to the brand split, but I hate the concept that there's an A show and a B show. Only because all of the wrestlers on there were once on Raw, and Raw is constantly promoted as the flagship for the company, but the company has 2 televised programs and bi-weekly pay-per-views at this point. I just think it's promoted badly. I think it's a start. I'm not going to say that this is the end-all, be-all solution, but I think your first problem is you need to promote SmackDown like you do Raw. If you've got a world title main event on Raw, there should be a world title main event on SmackDown. And it shouldn't be promoted better than it is on Raw compared to SmackDown. It should be as big of a deal on Raw for, if it's, example, WWE title for Raw and the World Heavyweight title, it shouldn't matter. Both matches should be portrayed as meaningful. Just a thought. In your wrestling news and rumors, a trailer has been released online for a new WWE video game. It's called WWE Brawl. It's a break from the standard arena-based wrestling video games produced by THQ. The game is scheduled for release in 2012, according to the trailer. A John Cena-inspired character named Chain Storm appears to be the central figure of the game. If you wish to view the trailer yourself, please visit the6axis.com. MMA news, Lashley to compete later this month. Former professional wrestler and Strikeforce veteran Bobby Lashley returns to action later this month, as he will meet UFC and Bellator vet Eddie Sanchez in the main event of Titan Fighting Championships 19 on July 28th. The event will air live on HDNet from Memorial Hall in Kansas City, and officials announced the headliner on Saturday morning. Rob Kimmons and James Cruz are also expected to compete on the card. TNA taking, as we reported earlier, well, a couple videos ago, TNA is to take Impact on the road next month. TNA will be taking Impact on the road to Huntsville, Alabama on Thursday, August 25th. The TV taping will be held at the Von Braun Center, where TNA held its first event in 2002. TNA will begin a regular schedule of TV tapings away from Orlando, Florida, starting with Huntsville next month. Universal Studios is listing 4 sets of TV tapings prior to the taping in Huntsville. July 11th and 12th, following Destination X pay-per-view. July 25th and 26th, leading to Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, and August the 8th and 9th, following Hardcore Justice, and August 22nd to the 24th, prior to No Surrender pay-per-view, and that one is set at tentative. They have not confirmed that yet, but we will get back to you on that, whether or not it's a confirmed date. WWE superstars set to come to the Comic-Con convention later this month. WWE has announced appearances by wrestlers at the annual Comic-Con convention in San Diego. Appearances are scheduled for July 21st through 23rd, featuring Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Kelly Kelly, and Alicia Fox at the San Diego Convention Center. Thursday, July 21st at 1 p.m., Rey Mysterio will be signing autographs at the Mattel booth, number 2945 and number 3029. Friday, July 22nd at 11 a.m., Kane and Kelly Kelly will be signing at the Mattel booth. And Saturday, July 23rd at 11 a.m., Cody Rhodes and Alicia Fox will be signing at the same Mattel booth. More details emerged from the Africa Smackdown tour robbery. Sin Cara states that he still likes the country but doesn't enjoy having his personal effects stolen. Sin Cara cites a sweater and a t-shirt among items that were taken into check, taken from the superstar and a few others in what appears to be checked luggage. The airline is downplaying the incident, and Sin Cara has also stated that they have not involved the police yet in this matter, that the company is taking care of it. It's pure speculation whether or not this is financial compensation for lost items or if they were items that the company just randomly replaced. But as we get better details on that, we shall let you know. The airline is Big Show is also a victim of the thievery in this incident, and the airline has launched an investigation and is downplaying the incident as far as the media is concerned. As part of a response to CM Punk aiming a homophobic slur at a fan during Monday's Raw house show in Australia, WWE claims CM Punk is legitimately leaving WWE after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and it's, quote, not part of a storyline. The following was printed on OpposingViews.com Tuesday covering the story. WWE officials also told GLAAD this morning that CM Punk's contract will expire in a few weeks. He will not be immediately renewed, and he will no longer be with WWE as of July 18th. A spokesperson told us, quote, this departure is not part of a storyline. He is contractually leaving the organization. A spokesperson for the WWE told us, quote, we are taking this very seriously, quote, to the point of how WWE is responding to Punk's slur. GLAAD says they are talking to WWE about directly working with talent on sensitivity training. GLAAD worked with WWE's writing team in May, but has not worked with talent. GLAAD said, quote, because this event, referring to the Raw house show in Australia, was not intended to be televised, and it took place during an unscripted interaction with the audience. None of the people we had already trained were involved. As a result, we are now in discussions with WWE to provide trainings to its on-camera talent, including the wrestlers themselves. TMZ reports that Scott Hall is reported to jail. Former WWE, WCW, and TNA star Scott Hall, who is 52, has checked himself into a Florida jail to begin serving a 10-day sentence. Reports TMZ. Hall is only expected to spend 2 to 3 days in jail after being, quote, credited with time served. According to Hall's representatives, he will be staying in the medical unit of the Seminole County Jail because of, quote, poor health. Hall was sentenced to jail last month after being found guilty of resisting arrest stemming from an incident in May 2010, according to police. According to police, Hall got into an altercation at a Florida bar, resisted arrest when officers were called out to the scene, and drunkenly screamed at patrons. Jerry Jarret and Memphis Heat announced tour this summer. TNA co-founder Jerry Jarret and the promoters of the Memphis Heat documentary on the history of Memphis wrestling have announced a summer tour. The documentary will be shown in theaters in the Southeast United States, and Jarrett will be promoting his new autobiography, quote, The Best of Times, Jerry Jarrett's Story. Dates announced for the summer tour include July 15th to the 17th in Kentucky at the Maiden Alley Cinema. Jarrett will have a book signing on the evening of July 15th. July 22nd, Memphis, Tennessee at the Orpheum Theater. August 5th, Birmingham, Alabama at the Alabama Theater. August 5th through the 7th, Atlanta, Georgia at the Plaza Theater. Jarrett will have a book signing on the evening of August 6th. For more information on this tour, please visit jerryjarret.com or memphisheat.com. Edge set to return in WWE in a non-wrestling capacity as of SummerSlam Access. For this appearance and a list of other scheduled appearances, please visit pwtorch.com. And as we always do, let us take this time to give a shout out to our friends and partners. We want to thank everyone who watches this video and every other video. If you like what you see, please visit youtube.com/CWE Company. We encourage you to friend us or like the videos, comment on the videos, and with your comments, we build other shows. Visit the Wrestle Talk Show website at wrestletalkshow.webs.com. There you can post your opinions on our fully interactive forum. And while you're there, don't forget to check out the support the show link. Donate as little or as much as you want. We understand economic hardship. If you cannot, the next best thing to that, and sometimes in this business, as far as I've seen, sometimes better than money is word of mouth. And you guys have done a lot of that, and I greatly appreciate it. Refer a friend. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/CWE Company, twitter.com/CWE Company. If you like your wrestling fully interactive and you like to have a say on it, this is definitely your place. We do not have a set, some might say that's a problem, but we do not have a set time limit on our shows, so we can go as long or as short as we want. This video will probably end up being, if I don't get on a tirade, which I won't even say how long this video is going to be, because God knows every time I do that, I screw myself. So, check out our website, check out our YouTube page, subscribe to our channel, help us grow. It's you guys that make all of this possible. It's you guys that make all of this fun. So check us out on all of those avenues, and we look forward to hearing from you. And remember, if you have a show question, suggestion, comment, anything and everything wrestling that you want clarified or put onto the show, direct email is cwecompany@gmail.com. And now into our plugs and shout outs to our, well, they're not partners, but they are a shout out to our friends. First and foremost, smartwrestlingfan.com every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. 3-hour weekly wrestling review show with host Joe Negron and Dishban and rotating co-host now at smartwrestlingfan.com. You can join the show live in the Stickum audience, interact, and just catch up on wrestling. We encourage you to watch the show live, because normally there's a half hour or better of material that usually ends up getting cut out of the audio that is put up on their site, on their podcast site, the following day. So check them out, smartwrestlingfan.com, every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And again, pwtorch.com, James Codwell and Wade Keller of ProWrestlingTorch.com. Check out their Monday through Friday live cast. I believe they went back to their regular schedule. I haven't been able to catch up with it since after WrestleMania. I keep telling myself that I'm going to catch up with it, and I will. They're all archived on my computer, on my browser, but as soon as I have 12, 18 hours to sink into it, believe me, I will. Their insight is formidable. They're very knowledgeable. They've been at this for years. They're one of the first people to turn what we do, what I do, into a job that actually pays. So check them out. They do an hour-long Monday through Friday live cast where they cover anything and everything wrestling, anything that happens to be on your mind, up-to-the-minute news on their website. All of these sites thus far have a members-only page. Be sure to check that out at the VIP section of pwtorch.com. And finally, prowrestling.net with Jason Powell. He does a weekly 45-minute free audio show on whatever's current in wrestling, whether it be a Raw, Smackdown, TNA, or pay-per-view, or a little bit of everything. He covers it. not to mention what seems like minute-to-minute coverage of wrestling itself, the same with PW Torch, up-to-the-minute news breaks, member site, between $7 and $10 a month each for both sites. A lot of bonus material, archive material, hours and hours of extra audio. So if you're on the fence and you've been fans of these guys, I encourage you, spend the $10 on one or both, and get your wrestling fix any way you can. We encourage you to do so. One thing that I haven't addressed that I think I'm going to take a minute and address is my view on CM Punk. And you can also call this my prediction for Money in the Bank, which I will be covering like I did Capital Punishment. I hope the people whose news feeds on Facebook were clogged can forgive me, because it's only going to get worse. Or you'll unfriend me, one of the two. I hope you don't do the second one, but I didn't realize that. It shows how much I know about Facebook. I knew everybody was getting the coverage, but I didn't know that people that didn't want to read it were kind of getting it force-fed to them. So again, I believe I covered it on Capital Punishment coverage, but in case I haven't, my apologies for the overwhelming news feeds that you all woke up to Monday morning following Capital Punishment. My outlook on CM Punk is this, and I don't think they're going to repeat two storylines so close together. You just had John Cena get over his feud with the Nexus, and you have the same sort of we've been down this road is my theory. John Cena was already fired after he lost to the Nexus. So now he's in the same predicament, just with CM Punk. CM Punk's contract, which ends on the night following Money in the Bank, July 17th, 2011, it makes sense for this to be a clean break, and unfortunately your hero wins. What may have been a spoiler in the news is his contract, in that Glad statement I just read, CM Punk's contract will not be renewed immediately, implying that they're going to renew it at some point. But they need to show CM Punk that they know they have eyes on them now. So what may have slid under the radar a couple of years ago is kind of WWE saying, yeah, you're popular. Yeah, we're going to re-sign you. But we can't do it right away, or else we'd look like hypocrites. Or contradictions, or both. Unfortunately, that leaves my prediction wide open to John Cena retains. Unless they can do it. I mean, I'm not trying to. I've made my decision, and I'm not trying to waver in any way. But unless they can make it something new, I just see if CM Punk wins, even if you have a way out of it where he walks off with the title, but a couple weeks down the road, you quietly re-sign him and he comes back. I just see it as a storyline repeating itself, just with different characters, and not necessarily a different outcome. The outcome's the same. John Cena gets fired or John Cena stays, which was the conflict, the big conflict that we all wanted to see an appropriate end to, the Nexus. So unless they can do it in a way that intrigues me to where I feel like I'm watching something new, I feel like John Cena will retain for the sole fact that they just got over, not just got over, but I could argue that this is the storyline that kind of fixed all the screw-ups that was wrong with John Cena versus the Nexus. But hey, I've been wrong before, and I hope I am, because that means that they're keeping us guessing and the wrestling's become entertaining and not so predictable, as I've been bitching about for months. But my other question was, CM CM Punk's shoot interview. What did you think of that? I actually didn't know it was a shoot until I rewound it and realized that, hey, CM Punk didn't stop talking because he was supposed to. CM Punk stopped talking because they kind of pulled the show off the air. What? I am.
Who turned our air conditioner off?
I didn't. I turned your door
open. Has anyone been over here?
Not that I know of.
Did you go outside?
I went outside and smoked one cigarette.
Somebody turned our fucking air conditioner off.
Sorry, guys.
No, not you. I'm just saying. Somebody went in our room and turned their air conditioner off.
Get out of the way of this shit. Sorry, dude.
No problem. But getting back to what we were talking about, the shoot interview. What did you think of it? I think that although disrespectful in some points, he did make a couple good points. WWE has gone out of its way to make itself the machine of wrestling. And whether it's CM Punk, John Cena, Wade Barrett, Sheamus, or whoever comes down that line, Vince McMahon is still going to make money off of you. This is what it's all about. Vince McMahon is, from the business perspective, he's not the promoter his father was. He's revolutionized it to a point where it's not like it used to be where it's the promoters running promotions that they care about. It's promoters going after other promoters to be better than one another and not always to where it benefits its fans. And let me clarify on that, where when you had the territory days, you had promoters that were spending their own money with limited sponsorship or what have you. TV syndication was looked at as big money. So back in the territory days, you had promoters that cared about what they did, the product they gave, the product they put off or produced. Now you have TNA and you have WWE. You have Ring of Honor as your independent, I'll say. The independent that survived the clean out, where when the smoke settled, you had the three standing. With the cost and people not investing in pro wrestling, there's no longer the promoters that care. It's the promoters that let me do what I can to make a quick buck and outdo Vince McMahon. So this goes back to my point of Vince McMahon has made it a point to where he's monopolized wrestling. And CM Punk did have a point. If it's not CM Punk pushing the DVDs, it'll be somebody else. And whether he meant to or not, I don't think he was right, because he kind of implied with asking for Vince McMahon to kind of retire, he kind of implied that he wasn't getting the push he thought he deserved, but he's been on top for the last year. If Vince McMahon doesn't want you on top, you don't not get on top by winning Money in the Bank. But hurtful or not, I do agree with how they handled it on Raw. It wasn't cut, so you could tell that that's how Vince wanted to do it. It was a freedom of speech thing. Not everybody likes their boss. Not everybody's going to like their boss. Again, I think you give it away when you say, you know, you're busy right now hyping that CM Punk, this isn't a storyline, this isn't a storyline, this isn't a storyline. But before he can even be fired, you've already given away that you plan to rehire him. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but what do I know? And that's our show for tonight, guys. Thank you very much. And again, if you like what you see, visit us on YouTube at youtube.com/CWE Company. Have a great night, guys.